Yep.
Oh, there we go. Morning, everybody. A couple minutes late, but we'll call the meeting to order here at 8:17. First thing on the agenda is the consent agenda and minutes and liquor license renewals.
Okay, we have no liquor license renewals, and I was doing the minutes, and then I realized I didn't have a copy of the ordinance electronic, so Tyler's gonna get that to me, and hopefully maybe before today's over, we can still approve those minutes, so if you wanna tentatively approve them until we get them, or wait, whichever.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, and possibly the minutes will come in later.
I second it.
Got a motion by Crouch and a second by Vinton. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Larry coming?
Any other visitors coming in today, Carol, that you're aware of?
Not that
No one
we
calling in?
actually have two people coming in on the agenda, but later on, but,
I have Tony Bales, and I don't know who's coming in for.
Yeah, I saw Tony and Mark are on the agenda, but
Whether it be.
are they coming in or calling, or what are they?
I think.
Tony actually wanted to come, he says, can I come in? I said, well, you'll have to come in
Yeah,
he said, that's fine.
sure.
So
Good.
he'll be coming in, and Carol's kind of made options for him, somebody to.
Check
Picking up at the
and all
door
that and go through the
and so-
process. Okay. Alrighty, any supervisor updates? I was gone for a week, so I don't have any.
I had a quiet week, so next week is gonna be full, but none for me.
We had a call with MAPPA, Metro, for planning stuff for RPA, but nothing new there, just okayed some large projects for different counties and things, and discussed how we was gonna keep pooling our money or trying to put our money together so people could keep working, so that's about all there is from MAPPA.
Okay. Julie Lyons is here with public health. And yeah, Larry may be here, he may not.
Larry won't be here today.
Give us an update on
You bet.
COVID-19.
Well, good morning.
You got her, Julie?
All right, I've got some COVID-19 updates, and I'm just updating you since I saw you last week on Tuesday. You probably have noticed that Governor Reynolds issued a proclamation of public health emergency on June 10th, and that runs from June 12th to the 25th. And it largely opened all businesses and eased restrictions on social gatherings. Prior to this most recent proclamation, there were some capacity limitations that were in place for businesses. So establishments that reopened were asked to be at 50% capacity. At this most recent proclamation, that particular issue has been dropped. So we don't have capacity limitations anymore. And almost all businesses are open with no exceptions. And the only two standards that are still in place across the board are social distancing. So the governor is asking for 6 feet of physical space between you and anyone that you don't live with. And then, of course, the continuation of the public health measures of increased hand hygiene, environmental cleaning. And so that's caused a lot of changes, and our community is working hard to reopen and to be in good compliance with what's expected. And so public health has been doing a lot of work around that with our partners here in the county. The governor also changed the non-school sporting and recreational events that are not prohibited any longer, and she even pointed out that she realizes with some of these recreational sports that 6 foot distance expectation is tough, and sometimes in the activity it's not always possible, and that's understood. And she's still just asking people to use common sense, do the best they can. When you can social distance, you should. And so largely social activities, gatherings, and businesses are reopened with those guidance issues from our governor.
Good.
One area that I have been particularly spending some time with is our fair updates. You probably are aware that the Iowa State Fair has canceled for the first time since I think World War II.
Yes.
And they put out a very beautiful statement, and as much as that we've got forward motion for the Iowa State Fair and how much it means to our entire state, they did not feel like they could manage the crowds and COVID-19 and all those expectations, and they felt like they needed to call. You can't walk in.
Where's this at?
Cattleman's and Pirate Cove.
The pools in Council Bluffs.
It's highly restrictive.
Well,
And I've been working with our local pools. I don't know that that would work well for us.
Right.
I don't know that we have to call ahead and make reservations. But the pools are making very good decisions based on information that we have. And so I just think, the last thing that we would put out there is that we want to remind all county residents that even though the governor has eased restrictions in regards to businesses opening and social distancing, a lot of those continues to spread in our community, and now more than ever, it's important to put all those good health practices into place. That's my COVID-19 report, unless you have any other questions. At some convenient point, I would love to talk with you about public health budget as we end of the fiscal. Carol and I visited a little bit. I've got a couple of questions to run past you that I'd like to get approved or discussed about our public health budget. And I don't know, Carol, did we want to?
I think we want to put you on the agenda for that.
And will that be, just so I can schedule, that be next week or the week following?
We can do it now. What is next week? The 23rd?
Mhm.
Yeah. Either whichever week works best for you.
Okay, you know that just ever so briefly, we got an unrestricted, unsolicited grant from Better Health for Iowans, and that was, we had to cash that check by June 15th. They're dissolving that nonprofit. We would really love to carry those funds into the next year so we could put them to best use for our community. And so, I know that
like 10,000.
yes.
Yeah.
And so y'all will have to bring me up to speed on end of fiscal year and new fiscal year and what can transfer over and what is done on June 30th. So Carol will walk me through that too.
Can we take these people out of the nursing home for a ride as long as they're in a car, or nothing yet?
Currently, none of our nursing homes are at that phase, and the issue is, I believe, is if you
Is that
leave,
pregnant
then they
family?
have a potential exposure, and then you bring them back, because we have community spread.
Two bags of checks next?
No, I mean, I think right now, the only reason that they're leaving the facility is for medical appointments. But we hope.
I didn't know if they could just stay in the car, if you could just take them out for a ride.
Well, if you have that desire, I don't think it's a bad thing to talk directly
It's
with the
just
facility and make that request. And
I
I
just
always
didn't know.
ask, if not now, when? That's always good to know. If I can't do it now, when can I? Where do we need to be to get to that point? Because
I know we
it's been a rough road.
Yeah.
talked about going and getting Gary at the resource center, in the car and stuff. Well, we would have to have the car clean, disinfected,
Oh,
then he could get in. He would get out until he went home, but, I mean, there's so many restrictions. You could ride around campus, but they don't want you to leave the campus area, so I'm going, what makes a difference whether you're downtown
drive.
Glenwood or out in the country or,
Yeah, you're in the same car.
Like
or they
Wisconsin,
wanna do it in a facility,
right.
well,
some of those
I mean-
restrictions are odd. When I was in Minnesota last week watching the news, Wisconsin is easing their restrictions too, and they opened up their parks, their public parks, but you couldn't have a campfire.
There are some interesting restrictions that you're like, okay, how does
So you can all sit
that
around with a
not
propane
affect-
grill,
yeah.
but you can't
Yeah, I don't,
light a fire.
well, can you use the camp out?
But that's
bathrooms
Wisconsin,
and
that's not us.
Yeah, that's true.
and I have another meeting on the 22nd in Red Oak, but supposedly, I might be a few minutes late, but I will make the Board of Health meeting.
Excellent. Good. We will go over all those fiscals in
Yep.
great detail at that time.
Yep.
And probably the 23rd would be a good time to come, Julie, for to discuss that.
And is that in a regular meeting? Okay.
Cause we've only got a week left.
Well, yeah, and if we're doing any transfers, then we need to, okay. We need to it has to be done by the 30th. So, and
Maybe-
basically, when I say transfers, basically, your process would be request the funding for next year. Basically, right now, it's not built into your budget, so we would have to, just put something in the minutes. Yes, you may have that 10,000 next year to use, so when we do our first budget amendment, then we would budget
already
that
in
in for you to
place.
spend. type of thing.
Okay.
That's how that kind of works.
Do you and I need to meet prior to next Tuesday or not?
If you want, that's
Not
fine.
necessarily.
No, I mean, sure, we can. I mean, I have no problem with that. If you just get a hold of me.
She's held my hand quite nicely up to this point, so
When you work together, things
Yep.
work better.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Julie.
Have a great one.
Hang in there, kiddo.
You too, thanks.
We got 20-minute break till Corey shows up.
He's not coming till 9?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought he was coming like at
Depends on it.
8:30, but maybe not.
He's probably hung up.
I guess we'll take a break until he gets there.
Yeah. While we're waiting on the Mills County engineer to show up, we will take a brief break. For those of you listening, we'll be back in about, hopefully a few minutes. Thank you.
Good morning.
Welcome back, everyone. Corey Gaston, our county engineer, is here to give us his part of the agenda.
Alright, I do have a utility permit for Mid-American. They are taking down the overhead power at Bungie Avenue where the conveyor belt's going and putting in board underground. Just, what was it? 630 feet.
Okay, Corey, I gotta ask this question. And maybe you guys can answer it. All the dirt work that's going on up at Mid-America, what is that? What are they doing?
They're filling fly pit ashes, or
That's
fly
what I
ash
thought.
pits.
Well, somebody asked me, because, no, they're building something. I said, no, I think they're filling fly ash pits, but I don't know these things.
That's what they've used
to my
over the years.
knowledge.
Yeah.
I
Because it's got lead in it.
Whatever environmental reasons, I don't stay real familiar with it.
It's like little boys playing with their trucks and dirt.
A lot of dirt.
Yeah,
A lot of dirt.
lot of trucks, a lot of dirt. That brings me to my first action item, approving the amended 5-year construction plan. Briefly talked about it last week, and Richard, you sat in the MAP meeting. We went over our revised tip. MAPA, our regional planning agency, RPA 18, has gone to a different allocation strategy for federal funds. Before it was each of the 4 counties would submit projects and they would score them and then they'd allocate the money through that way. Some counties would be underfunded, some would be overfunded, but everybody kind of worked together to get larger projects done. Now we're going to more of a, here's your allotment out of, they split between the 4 counties through different formulas, miles of road and paved roads and whatever not else. And so we get about 27%, 26% out of
No more borrowing ahead or
and
working.
it's here's your allotment, you program it how you see fit, so to stay fiscally constrained within the region and for us to stay under our allotment. We had to just make a few changes. The biggest change is moving back the Silver City overlay, the north section of it from Gaston Avenue through Silver City. Instead of completing that in 2021 as planned, we're looking more at 2022.
Sure.
And then everything else also bumped back a year.
Sure.
Darn it.
That's what's reflected in this 5-year plan, which has the tip portion has been approved by MAPA and DOT will take a look at it, but I give them a heads up. Shouldn't be any problems. So.
County, you'll be happy.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the amended 5-year construction plan?
I make a motion to approve the 5-year construction plan.
Second.
We've got a motion by Benton and a second by Crouch to approve the amended 5-year construction plan. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. I need to sign any of that, Corey?
Chairs and the auditor's signature. You're the bottom.
I'm on top of this.
I always get stuck on the bottom.
Want to check out what our shop's gonna look like?
Yeah, I seen a picture of that the other
We've
day.
decided to remove the staining on the brick, split face brick on the outside.
Is that a cost savings?
It'll be minimal cost savings.
Sure,
but-
it all counts.
Because we'll still seal it. And so the
Corey, kudos for a great article in the paper last week of the shop.
no, I still haven't read it.
haven't?
I haven't seen it
I
yet
have
either.
I
had
mean, I did the interview, so I know
more
what I
people
said.
call and say, what a nice article.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Was it next to my new box at the courthouse? Was it near that? Our new little drop-off box?
The gold box? Is it gold
The
in there?
gold box?
Carol
The gold box.
Gold Box.
Oh, no, that's your golden box.
Oh,
That's
my
yours.
That's just gonna be awesome.
Only thing in 18 years, Lonnie, I get to do
I
is
went
make
through-
the box gold and
Right.
she complains about it.
Right.
I walked through the shop or the new building yesterday afternoon. Just kind of see a little bit of an update, and we got the mezzanine level poured last Friday or Thursday, and then stairs installed, and so pretty much all the room framing's done, and all the slabs are poured. So now they're gonna rough in a lot of the mechanical, and then get sheetrock going. And It's really gonna
What's
take
on
off.
that mezzanine level? I kind of forgot.
We're gonna have mechanical,
Okay.
and then storage.
Oh, okay, I was thinking, but I wasn't sure.
And
Thought
whoever
maybe a
pisses me
walking
off will have
track
to
or
put their
something.
desk up there and listen to the mechanics.
Is there like softener, salt, or anything that they're gonna need to be, I know with the jails, part of that design is
Good question.
they either have to lug bags of salt up or lift them up with a forklift.
I
That's a
I
great
might
idea.
check.
Yeah.
Or
But I
anything
believe
else
that
like that.
that would be up on that level, because
Right.
that's what we've tried to do. If we don't have, if we can't put it on the roof and it needs to be indoors, we're gonna put it on the
It's funny,
mezzanine.
they called it a mezzanine and the jail called it the penthouse.
Yeah,
Depends on
isn't
which
that
architect you
ironic?
talk to, so.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I know Fremont County took theirs and repiped it and moved theirs down to a lower level because they didn't wanna lug in 50-pound bags of salt upstairs.
Yeah.
We will have a railing on the outside, so we should be able to forklift it, I think, or use our skid steer, maybe. Have to check that out.
Probably good
Good
to
idea to
figure
look.
that out now.
They do expect the siding, the hardy board siding, to be going on in the next week
Can I
or
see your
two.
pictures?
Originally, it was gonna be more of a tan color on the split face gray brick, but we decided to. I thought it looked pretty good without the stain. Yeah.
Just
Nice.
spray it.
Yeah,
Very
they'll
nice.
just seal it. Glass block windows are going in have gone in on the roof and shop areas. That was planned to try to get as much natural lighting in there as possible. It's really looking good. Moving right along.
Exciting.
Good.
Cool.
We are up for another pay application.
Oh, sure.
Now you want money.
Now they want money.
A lot of this pay application is roofing and siding, a little bit of framing and drywall, some HVAC and electrical, and all the geothermal's been drilled. So a lot of utilities and roofing and siding. And the total amount is $522,521.85.
Where does that put us, Corey? Are we 20,
So
40, 60%
The
through this?
balance to finish is $2,149,000 and change, which is about 40% left. So we paid about 60%.
Okay.
And we're looking at completion date October area.
Still on or ahead of schedule?
They're ahead of schedule. Originally, we were looking at November. The super there at the job site thought maybe even end of September. So they've been making good time.
Good. Okay, guys, should we pay for a bill?
Well, I make a motion to pay Genesis Contracting Group for the new shop admin office.
Second.
Got a motion by Vinton, second by Crouch to pay Genesis for pay application 8 of $522,521.85. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Uh,
Anywhere.
Somewhere down there. Thank you.
thank you, sir. What's going on for general discussion?
Alright. Update on 190th Street. Bridge approach on the north side was poured Friday last week. They'll pour the south side either tomorrow or Thursday. Well, it was tomorrow or Thursday morning. We'll see about the rain. That's why they were really hoping to get tomorrow, but there's a lot of steel, reinforced steel, and forming to go into these bridge approach sections, so they might not be ready by tomorrow afternoon. We did a proof roll of the grade, just with concerns with how wet the whole area has been, and just want to make sure, you know,
It's wet down there? Why? How?
just before we go and put 3/4 of a mile of paving down, want to make sure, absolutely sure that that grade's gonna hold up and be stable. We had actually had the regional manager from Terracon actually come out. So we had a geotechnical engineer along with the contractor and myself watching, and really had just some minor issues, which should be an easy scarify recompact, and shouldn't be concerned at all about the grade. I am currently in negotiations with the contractor about material price increase for the base material for the paving, modified sub-base. There was suspensions on the project, which does allow them to request a material price increase.
Right.
However, with any material price increases we've had on this project, it's always just been an increase by the cost of the material from wherever the producer is coming from. And we've had to do this on some concrete, fine aggregate. Sand just costs more for the producer to get, so we paid like another $1 for every yard of concrete for that. However, with the modified sub-base, I know, because I know the producer, it's $2 more per yard than originally was planned 2 years ago when the project started. However, the subcontractor is asking for an increase of $13 per yard.
Whoa,
Yeah, it's very significant.
yeah.
And so, before I allow them to do this, I need some more information from them. They're claiming increased operator costs, increased trucking costs, and the material increase for the rock. So, I've asked the subcontractor to provide payrolls showing how much was the operator increase. I just can't believe trucking's more expensive right now with fuel at lows, with the labor pool as large as it is,
It's just
and
the demand.
the subcontractor has their own trucks. It
And
says
even the rock, I mean, that hasn't substantially
Would
gone
that
up.
be out of
$2.
our pocket only?
yes.
None of the rest of the contributors would be subject to
Well,
this?
I mean, we used up the rise, the TIF, and the railroad money, so it would be coming out of our FM budget. So they're gonna have to show me why it's a 30% increase instead of,
Might be a gravel road for a while.
and
We're just a half a
we've had
bridge. Just a half a bridge.
Yeah.
we've had to have increases to this project
Right.
legitimately.
But not this big of an increase.
Well, it states in standard specifications that profits are excluded on material price increases. And so if they can show me how these costs have gone up that much, we'll review them, but I just can't, there's no way that I can agree to that because
Well, we can't
It is-
absorb that,
it is
That's a
cause it'd
lot.
be what? How many yards?
5,000 yards. Their original contract price was $45 a yard, and they're requesting $58 a yard. Yeah, and the cost of the rock only went up $2. So I got a major issue with that.
Yeah.
Me too.
And it's sad because it is a local subcontractor, and you'd think they'd be a little more aware of taxpayer money, but. So hopefully we can come to an agreement. I requested quite a lot of documents, like notarized payroll, and the cost.
Since there's been a curveball thrown to us, obviously with flood and several other things down there, can we find another contractor to truck it? I mean, if they can, if there's avenues for them to charge us more, then is there avenues for us to find someone else?
I'd have to find out, because they're a subcontractor, the prime could always find a different subcontractor.
Right.
We can't, I think it'd be very, very hard, difficult to find a new prime contractor.
Yeah, without a
But,
doubt.
but
Yeah.
the prime contractor could definitely find a new subcontractor to complete that work.
Just a question.
Well, the question is, how much is the prime contractor getting out of this $13?
Well, he'll mark it up. I mean, it's.
Well, yeah, I
it's
mean,
whoever
that's
is-
just it.
They are not eligible for a prime contractor markup because it's their only time they're eligible for it is for new work. This isn't new work. It's just be a material price increase, and because I've gone over this with the prime because they've tried to mark up work that was not new work before, and so they're understanding of that. But
Sure.
there was some times where we did have new work and they had their markup.
Right. Understandable.
So
I don't mind paying for the increase in the rock or something like that. That's
I
fine.
think it's very legitimate, and we
But
have been.
just to say I need $13 a yard more for what purpose?
Yep, I'm gonna make them show me.
Yeah. Call around.
Uh,
Start shopping.
yeah, I if I need to help this prime find someone else, I'll lend the help. But
I can help you too. I know a couple.
other general discussion. I don't know if you had any public comments. I wasn't here earlier.
No, I had someone call on a light out on the. It's Barris somewhere.
Is
There
that-
for a stop sign. That's.
Is it at 221st Street in Barris?
I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I saw it on Facebook, and I had a call from a buddy here a few months ago because it's been out.
we haven't wrapped up that project just yet. We had some erosion problems that we had the contractor come back out and fix the other week, and then we had the 2-3 inch rain last week that damaged that, and so they're gonna have to reseed. We did have to issue a non-compliance because specification for seed is the mulching mat material needs to be put down directly after the seed. They did not do that, so then it washed away. So non-compliance for not following specification,
Sure.
reseed it and mulch it at your own
Cover it
cost.
again.
That, and then obviously the light was the newly installed light was on the northeast corner,
We're just waiting for them to finish it up.
and that
though.
needs to be
Okay.
functional. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that is on their checklist.
Perfect.
So yeah, that project should be getting wrapped up shortly. I sent out some letters last week to some homeowners on 230th Street about some driveways that were paved without a surfacing permit. Whenever
Like the one by Wayne Tackett's. Did you ever notify them?
where's that at?
Right there on the gravel road, you know, I showed you a picture, how he just put a bunch of dirt in the
Yeah.
ditch.
Yep.
Did you contact him, or he called, or?
Yeah, he's been talking with them.
Okay,
I'll
alright.
have to check back
That's
up to that one.
Pretty funny on that one.
Yeah. But whenever you widen, put in a new driveway or surface with anything other than rock, so asphalt, concrete, seal coat, you do need a surfacing permit. Just got a couple that got newly done. There's on our seal coat roads, we don't allow them to pave out into the roadway because the full depth paving, concrete, asphalt is going to be more durable than our seal coat road. The seal coat road starts deteriorating, cracking, especially on the edges where it usually does. Concerned that our snow blade's going to be going down, catch that edge, driveway edge, and then we got damaged snow blade. And so that's why we don't allow driveways paved into the roadway on the seal coat roads. So we had a couple letters, and I wasn't sure if anybody was contacted by you guys, but in case you do get called, that's kind of the reason.
Is there a certain width or length that from their driveway?
In depth.
There's 5 feet.
It's 5
It's supposed to
feet
be 5 feet
for a little bit of
back
gravel.
from the shoulder, or from the edge of the traveled way. A lot of times you'll see it's more like 2-3 feet. I'm not gonna get bent out of shape as long as it's back a couple feet. If we're following the letter of the law, it's 5 feet.
You got him worked out though.
Yep, well, there's still one out of 3 driveways that still working on, but everybody else, the other 2, have responded.
How about that letter up with the water in the ditch that he wanted you to,
Oh yeah,
what was,
he took my answer and
okay,
didn't really have much else to say. It's tough down there in the river bottom. It's flat. I mean, if you have a foot of fall in a mile, you're pretty good.
The
But
dirt clod can cause a
just-
lot of trouble.
it just takes some
3
time.
inches of rain in the amount of time they got it.
Yep.
Would cause anything to, I mean, it tore up that countryside up in there like unbelievable.
Yeah. His area did drain though, or at least it may took 36 hours, but the ditch in
so
front of
he
his house was
wanted
dry.
what, you to put in a bigger tube, or what was?
Why don't dig the ditch out
Probably
so it
wanted me
drains?
to do some ditch digging. It's tough to,
And then
I mean, we have to be careful. We can't change the flow of water. So the options are kind of limited, and you're gonna have water standing somewhere down there. And do we dig a ditch and let it go flow? I looked at, if we would have dug it to the west, it probably would have then sat into a low spot in the farm field where a lot of water already sits. When we dig it to the east, it would be going, it could maybe get to a drainage ditch, which then we have to coordinate with the drainage ditch to make sure that the water was supposed to flow there originally, or else we're changing the flow of water and we're dealing with Iowa code. But when I go out there and I don't see standing water anymore after 36 hours, 48 hours after a 3-inch rain, I just conclude that the water does drain.
And it helps with the river's low, it's down so the water
Yes.
drains, so that
Mhm.
helps.
Update on the conveyor belt. Me and
I see them all sitting out
Tyler.
there, but they're not up yet.
they've gotten up a lot of the conveyor belt in between the roadways,
Okay.
and still haven't received a final design from Ames Construction for they've been doing footing designs for the overpass structures, and so once they get that to us, then we can approve their utility permit, and I assume they'll have to get approval from zoning or building for that structure still. Tyler and I got the copy of the agreement to them for their review. Waiting on any comments they have. I did advise them that it might be a good idea for them to come in to this board one more time, just to sign the agreement. Any other questions they might have on that?
You haven't balked about the fees yet?
Nope. So,
Hopefully that'll help you out here in the next 3 years,
that would be nice.
which will help us, yeah.
They've been good to work with. Ames is a big company, so I think they're used to.
They're players.
I know they have one guy who, I think he lives out at the Glenwood Golf Course, and
He does.
who's just on design and permitting and just kind of doing all the small time engineering work for them. So it's nice that they man somebody into that position instead of.
They're a good outfit.
Yep.
It's gonna be so interesting to see how this works. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Otherwise, looking at July, mid to end of July, for that farm to market rock project. That's what Schilberg's kind of saying, they should have enough material produced by then. We are trying to do our best to coordinate it with the dust control applicators, Husker Chem and Jericho, to try and time it to where they're putting down their second application right after maybe we rock some roads. We always, in the fine print of these dust control applications, have the right to go in and maintain the road, add rock and blade it. We do our best to not, just because people did pay for this dust control, but
You gotta maintain the road.
you know, if a road hasn't received rock for 2 years, we really need to get the rock down, and